what transpired there?
Well, Justin, I think, first of all, I must say that I'm impressed by the Lagos State Police Command. I mean, it does appear that the command is doing its best, is doing its best to ensure that we have a safe Lagos. However, I think there are some issues that personally I think we have to talk about today on the show. But yesterday, while I was there at that particular event, we saw about 7 dismissed soldiers who have been terrorizing a particular area of Lagos State, Ijegum, and the likes, and it was I felt very, very proud of the Nigeria police, well, maybe for the first time in a long time, that they were able to deal with that particular situation. And then we had some cult groups, members as well, who were also paraded as well, because very recently it was in the news and some of the national dailies that there was this cult clash somewhere, and I'm not too sure of how that area is pronounced now, but you know, it's amazing that I think that clash happened somewhere on Saturday, and as at yesterday, you know, we could see that some arrests had been made by the police. Well, their investigations are still ongoing, but on a whole, I was very, very impressed at what I saw yesterday from the Nigeria police.
Indeed, we will be looking at that on the show today, and we have a guest in the house will be analyzing the state of security in Lagos State. As you know, we've entered the Ember month and the Utah is almost here. What should we be looking at specifically in terms of policing in Lagos State and beyond? Like Ellie said, 11 suspects were arrested yesterday, and 7 of them were, how many of them? 7, right?
7 dismissed
Seven
soldiers.
dismissed ex-military men, you know, who went robbing in military uniforms. We'll take details of that report when we'll come back. We'll be introducing our guest to join us again.
The Commissioner of Police, Zubairu Muhazu, who was flanked by the Public Relations Officer, Balai Kana, said the success recorded by the command could be attributed to the robust crime prevention strategies put in place by the force. The CP said within the last 1 month, the command has arrested 40 armed robbery suspects, 29 suspects for cultism, 19 suspects for murder, and over 70 arms recovered. Speaking further, he thanked Lagosians for supporting the command with credible information.
Lagos has witnessed a huge reduction in violent crimes over the last few months. This could be attributed to the robust crime prevention strategies put in place by the command. Within the last 1 month, the command has arrested 40 armed robbery suspects, 29 suspects for cultism, and 19 suspects for murder. 19 firearms and 51 rounds of ammunition were recovered. 31 armed robbery attempts were foiled by the command.
Some of those paraded include 7 dismissed soldiers arrested for armed robbery, 11 notorious traffic robbery suspects, alleged Awawa Boys ringleader who orchestrated a mild drama as he denied membership of the group.
I know be king of Awawa.
No, are you the leader of Awawa in Agege area? Yes or no?
No.
So who are you?
So I'm Tobi Akinbayo.
Are you a member of Awawa in Nigeria?
I no be member of Awawa.
What is Awawa?
The people where is there alive, they call Awawa. No, that thing will happen. So,
but you wrote in your statement. You confessed in your statement.
Which other members are here? Can we know other members?
He's the only one that just got arrested.
This is Awawa.
We have a confessional statement of him confessing to the fact that he is the leader, and this is not the first time he's coming to the anti-cultism unit. Right or wrong?
So why is he lying?
yes, now
So why are you lying before members
They know
of the press?
it's 2 times.
Why are you lying before members of the
As they
press?
assist me, us, some boys, they on street.
Meanwhile, some of the 7 dismissed soldiers arrested for armed robbery narrate their ordeal.
Escort of what?
I escort vehicle, all these transporters at 3.5.
3.5. How many do you do in a week?
His passenger vehicle is all these buses, commuter buses.
What did you know you were doing illegal?
I know.
My name is David.
Sorry.
I serve in Abuja last.
Why were you?
2013. I was involved in an illegal activity.
The police commissioner said investigations are ongoing and the suspect will soon be charged to court. Kelly Egiga, Galaxy Television News, Lagos.
All right, welcome back from the Lagos Police Command, where that parade was held as put together by Kelly Egiga. Let's make welcome Executive Director, Rule of Law and Accountability Advocacy Center, RULAAC, Okechukwu Nwanguma. Many thanks for joining us on Galaxy.
A pleasure to be here once again. Good to have you join us this morning. Welcome.
Yeah.
Let's start with this particular report which happened yesterday of the parading of suspects by the police Commissioner Zubairu Mwaizu. Let's start with your immediate thoughts and reactions to that report.
Okay, my first thought is to commend the Lagos State Police Command for their efforts, to combat crime and keep Lagos safe for its residents. For me, what this shows is that when the police are provided with the necessary equipment, with the necessary motivation and training, they're able to, deal with crime. And this, for me, is also the benefit of the Lagos State Security Trust Fund, and which is why, for me, again, it brings back to focus the whole issue about police trust fund at the federal level and the need to run it properly so that it serves the purpose of helping to provide alternative funding and equipment source for the police. Having said that, you could see in that parade that one of the suspects was vehemently denying being a member of the robbery. Now, for me, and I've always said this, parading suspects by the police is a practice by which police wants to advertise their effectiveness, at fighting crime, and it runs against the constitutional provision of presumption of innocence. Mm-hmm. The United Nations Special Rapporteur on Extrajudicial Executions has said that it is prejudicial to fair trial. What we are seeing there is media trial. While I have no doubt, I have no basis to doubt the police or doubt that those people are suspected, armed robbers or criminals. I think we need to be careful, because what the police need to do is not just to embark on media trial, which is what that is. I have seen, in my experience as a human rights advocate who works on policing, I have come across specific cases where people who were paraded turned out to be innocent, which is why it is dangerous to do this.
Okay.
Sometimes you find that parading suspects, before the media is usually a prelude, in some cases, to extrajudicial execution. What we need is for these people to have all the guarantees of fair trial. They must have access to their lawyers. They must be charged to court. The court will be able to determine, based on evidence that police will present, to determine their guilt or otherwise. You could hear somebody vehemently saying, "I'm not part of the team." We don't have any reason to
even when there was, I was trying to point out, a confessional statement.
Confession is no basis to prove somebody's guilt or innocence. There are cases when suspects have been forced to sign statements that they didn't write. I'm not saying that is the case, but it is possible. So my point then is that while I commend Lagos State Police Command for being able to achieve this feat, they must also go the extra length of ensuring that these people are subjected to due process, to trial by a competent court. Police should present evidence that it is the court that will determine their innocence or otherwise.
So invariably, before we move to other details of this particular arrest, are you saying it is not legal for the police to come out to parade suspects when they are not done completely with their investigation?
It is prejudicial to fair trial. It is prejudicial to presumption of innocence. Even I have had successive Inspector General of Police also say, don't parade suspects in the media. Charge them to court. If you want, if you have time, I can narrate to you a live case that I had to intervene in where a suspect was paraded in Imo State. And because I knew the CP, then I called him, and when he investigated, he confirmed that that fellow was not guilty of the offense for which he was paraded. It happens.
But the police needs Nigerians to know that, look, we are working, and we need to update Nigerians and all of that. So how do you get to do that?
You can, there are ways to update Nigerians. You can give information about people arrested without necessarily showing their faces. Because now, if having paraded somebody for an alleged crime, if it turns out that that person is not guilty of that crime, will you come back to parade and say, oh, sorry, this man we paraded? That's the big question. That's why it's not right. That's the big question. So there are ways to communicate this. You don't. Sometimes, actually, in some other crimes, they show their backs or cover their faces. So this is already trying them,
because we had the go ahead from the police to.
I know, but the media also needs to understand
that report.
The media also need to understand that that is not right.
Okay, but let's talk about some. We're still talking about the suspect yesterday. A particular lady, and I think her husband supposedly were paraded for being involved or running this baby seller factory thing. And it's been in the news. In 2015 I read reports, 2016 I read reports about the whole baby seller factory thing, where people illegally go to that factory and buy and purchase babies and all of that. But here she was again yesterday, paraded. And some Nigerians believe that, look, after a while some of these people can be arrested, and after a while, 2-3 months, they have a way of just sneaking out of the cell. Your thoughts, please?
No, I mean, when you in the first place, that what we have just described is child trafficking. And this thing exists in many places, particularly in the southeast, where you have people set up homes where they get young girls, get them pregnant, they give birth and they sell. That's child trafficking. But of course, I mean, if the police arrests a suspect and take the suspect into custody, what you expect that the suspect must be charged to court, right? Now, when that person has been detained for a number of days, and then the person is suddenly something is wrong, so it means that somebody must have done. We need to examine what happened, because I know that there are cases when police officers obtain money from suspects and let them go, and they go back to the crime, so they keep arresting them, and it becomes a cycle of extortion, and so that needs to be investigated. We need to find out who arrested them in the first place and why was that person
Okay, let us talk about another visible thing that happened yesterday. 7 ex-military men were part among those paraded. What does it really tell us? People have been dismissed, and yet they still find a way to commit crimes when they should be the ones to know better.
It's a very dangerous development, and this is not the first time we are reading about military officers either serving or dismissed or retired getting involved, not just in armed robbery, but also kidnapping and all manner of things. If you recall the Taraba incident, everything around that tells you that some persons in the military are involved in kidnapping or shielding, or are part of rings. So it is dangerous for anybody to be in crime, but it's even dangerous when these are people trained to use arms and ammunition. So for me, the military needs to look in, because you see, there's a lot of frustration within the military.
Yeah, because yesterday, one of the ex-soldiers actually even shared his story, where we don't know how true that is, but he said he was down in health for a very long time, and then by the end, then he had to leave the camp where he was. By the time he got back, he had been dismissed, even without his consent without his knowing.
So he takes the vengeance on society, which is why I say that the military needs to be careful the way they treat or deal with officers, because when you deal with them badly, they come out and the society is
It's the Galaxy today, just to remind viewers that you can be a part of this conversation. Feel free to interact with us on social media using the hashtag Galaxy today. A lot of people are already calling in. They just send us SMS and we'll read out your questions and your thoughts concerning the crime rates in Lagos.
Okay, Okechukwu, I would like to hear your thoughts. You have been very particular about the court, about the fact that we have to carry out investigation. The court has to prove that this person is actually guilty before you get to parade and get to issue out punishment and all of that. But how proud are you about the Nigerian justice system?
You see, that's a major challenge, and the reason that citizens, sometimes the reason the police resort to extrajudicial killing is because, and this is the reason they give, and this is not justifying it, that sometimes when they arrest suspects like this and charge them to court, because of our, judicial system that doesn't work, people who ought to be in prison find themselves out, and then they come back and, target police officers. So they think that the best thing to do is to, dispense justice. Citizens in general seem to have lost confidence in our justice system, and which is why it is important, urgent, for government to address the need to fix our justice system. When the Administration of Criminal Justice Act came into force, we thought that was an attempt to fix the justice system, but things still don't seem to be working, which is why the police sometimes feel frustrated that when they have done their bit, then the whole thing gets bungled by the justice.
That also tells a lot about the number of Nigerians that we have in the correctional
prisons
facilities that we have around.
More than, in fact, by the current record,
people waiting trial for years.
By the current record, over 70% of people in prisons are waiting trial.
Over 70%.
And this has been the pattern. And majority of those are actually people who ought not to be in prison in the first place. Minor offenses. A lot of them are people who find themselves in prison as a result of the excesses of task forces like the types we have in Lagos, who pursue, street traders, hawkers, take their wares, steal their wares, and then take them to so-called mobile courts, which send them to prison for no offense or minor offenses in many cases.
Which brings to a thought, we talked about the Administration of Criminal Justice, the Act, and of course the law here in Lagos, which was established in 2011. Looking at all of that, you talked about lots of people, wallowing in cells when they've not even. So how come this ACJA and ACJL have not been fully complied with by the police? And sometimes you hear a case of, the police say they're still awaiting advice from the DPP and all of that. What are the issues really?
I think in the first place, the first thing is that there seems to be, we did a survey some 2 years ago on the level of awareness by the police of the Administration of Criminal Justice Law in Lagos State and the Administration of Criminal Justice Act at the federal level, which came into force in 2015. The level of awareness is low. A lot of police officers have not seen copies of the laws that they ought to enforce. Now, in terms of even providing that, some aspects of that law require government to provide certain facilities. For example, an aspect of the law says that if the police arrests a suspect, that the police must immediately, apart from informing the suspect of the reason for his or her arrest, that they must immediately inform the family, the next of kin. Now the police will tell you, do they provide us with telephones or even a child card to make that call? The other one says you must interrogate the person in the presence of the lawyer or video record. Now, how many police stations have videos to record? So you find out that the law is there, but the police still need to be assisted in terms of providing the necessary facilities and equipment they need awareness is one, providing the training on these laws and providing the equipment that they need to enforce the laws. So these are some of the challenges.
Okay, would you agree with the statement of the Commissioner of Police here in Lagos, Zubairu Muazu, who says that the crime rate in the state has reduced significantly in the past few months?
Well, I don't know what statistics he relied on to say that. I have no basis to doubt him, but we need to know what it was before and what it is, and that is statistics. So we need to see the statistics for us to be able to competently, make any comments on that.
Okay, I'm really very concerned about something I have observed very recently. Thousands of Nigerians trooping to Lagos on a daily basis. I think the stat says about 23,000 or thereabouts get to troop into Lagos on a daily basis, wanting a better life and all of that. I was at Ibadan over the weekend, and on my way back I saw some trucks, bringing in, Nigerians and all of that. Are you worried at the sight of this event?
Definitely, that would be a major cause for concern, because when a lot of these people come in, they don't have any relations. A lot of them find themselves under the bridges. They don't know particularly where they're going to. A lot of them you find in the streets, and some of them are people who have no jobs, and so the possibility that a lot of people involved in crime come from among this category.
Okay, just hold that thought. It's still Galaxy. Today we're reviewing the crime rate in Lagos, and Okechukwu Nwanguma is the Executive Director of RULAAC. We'll be talking some more after this quick break. To join us again.
The Commissioner of Police, Zubairu Muhazu, who was flanked by the Public Relations Officer, Balai Kana, said the success recorded by the command could be attributed to the robust crime prevention strategies put in place by the force. The CP said within the last 1 month, the command has arrested 40 armed robbery suspects, 29 suspects for cultism, 19 suspects for murder, and over 70 arms recovered. Speaking further, he thanked Lagosians for supporting the command with credible information.
Lagos has witnessed a huge reduction in violent crimes over the last few months. This could be attributed to the robust crime prevention strategies put in place by the command. Within the last 1 month, the command has arrested 40 armed robbery suspects, 29 suspects for cultism, and 19 suspects for murder. 19 firearms and 51 rounds of ammunition were recovered. 31 armed robbery attempts were foiled by the command.
Some of those paraded include 7 dismissed soldiers arrested for armed robbery, 11 notorious traffic robbery suspects, alleged Awawa Boys ringleader who orchestrated a mild drama as he denied membership of the group.
I know be king of Awawa.
No, are you the leader of Awawa in Agege area? Yes or no?
No.
So who are you?
So I'm Tobi Akinbayo.
Are you a member of Awawa in Nigeria?
I no be member of Awawa.
What is Awawa?
The people where is there alive, they call Awawa. No, that thing will happen. So,
but you wrote in your statement, you confessed in your statement.
Which other members are here? Can we know other members?
He's the only one that just got arrested.
This is Awawa.
We have a confessional statement of him confessing to the fact that he is the leader, and this is not the first time he's coming to the anti-cultism unit. Right or wrong?
So why is he lying?
yes, now I'm
So why are you lying before members
they
of
know
the press?
it's 2 times.
Why are you lying before members of the
As they
press?
assist me, us, some boys, they on street.
Meanwhile, some of the 7 dismissed soldiers arrested for armed robbery narrate their ordeal.
Escort of what?
I escort vehicle, all these transport assets.
How much did they pay you?
3-5.
3-5.
How many do you do in a week?
His passenger vehicle is all these buses, commuter buses.
Or did you know you were doing illegal?
I know.
My name is David.
All right, welcome back. Let's take some feedback as we round off this particular segment. Good morning, well done. Please let the criminals tell the public their tribal names, their hometown, and their elders. All right now they're not criminals. They've not been, convicted by a court of law. They are still suspects. Yeah. All right, those ex-soldiers are supposed to be charged to court. They will be charged to court, not just dismissed. I wonder when this country will advance. Okay, as we begin to round off this session now, let's talk about the last quarter of the year, where we see more of crime rate increasing. What should we be focusing on right now, specifically, not just for the police, but as residents of Lagos?
Okay, I think that usually at this time of the year, when we enter the ember months from September up to December, there's usually increase in crime. So, people are beginning to get desperate to make last efforts to get money for Christmas. So crime increases. So the police needs to, put their eyes on the ball. And I think that there's need to support the police with adequate equipment, intelligence, facilities to be able to detect crime, because criminals are always trying to be ahead. So the police need to also be ahead of them. Citizens themselves need to be also exercise some caution in terms of where they go and how they move, because people are going to start getting desperate as usual. The roads are also going to start becoming busy, and I think government needs to fix roads. You see, the bad roads contribute to slowing down traffic, and in those traffics a lot of things happen. So government needs to try and fix the roads. Apart from the fact that it slows down traffic, it impacts on people's income. People burn fuel. A lot of things happen in traffic. So there's need for government to equip the police to be able to effectively discharge their functions, especially at this time of the year.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. We'll be looking at the rate of crime in Lagos vis-a-vis the suspect that were paraded by the police command just yesterday, where amongst 7 ex-military men who went about robbing in military camouflages. Kelly.
Yeah, so we just have to go now, but maybe just before we let you go, I know you've been talking about something about bail is free and all of that. Just maybe in 30 seconds, can you just say that to our viewers about the fact that, look, this is what you should pay for and this is what you should not pay for?
Yeah, a police bail is usually described as administrative bail. Okay. Which means that when somebody is arrested, the police has the discretion to release the person on bail pending, when the police are ready to charge the person to court if they have evidence. And in granting bail, the person is not expected to pay any money for bail. Bail is free, and the police keep saying it, but you hear citizens saying that they are still asked to pay money. So the police authorities need to look into this issue to ensure that citizens are not extorted, because this is part of those things that help to affect public perception of the police.
All right, thank you so much. Okechukwu Nwanguma has been our guest. He is the Executive Director, Rule of Law and Accountability Advocacy Center, RULAAC. Thank you so much, Nwanguma. We do appreciate your time with us this morning.
Thank you.
In a moment, when we return, we'll be focusing our attention this time around to corruption and the need for transparency and open governance in Nigeria. In a moment, stay with us.
The Commissioner of Police, Zubairu Muhazu, who was flanked by the Public Relations Officer, Balai Kana, said the success recorded by the command could be attributed to the robust crime prevention strategies put in place by the force. The CP said within the last 1 month, the command has arrested 40 armed robbery suspects, 29 suspects for cultism, 19 suspects for murder, and over 70 arms recovered. Speaking further, he thanked Lagosians for supporting the command with credible information.
Lagos has witnessed a huge reduction in violent crimes over the last few months. This could be attributed to the robust crime prevention strategies put in place by the command. Within the last 1 month, the command has arrested 40 armed robbery suspects, 29 suspects for cultism, and 19 suspects for murder. 19 firearms and 51 rounds of ammunition were recovered. 31 armed robbery attempts were foiled by the command.
Some of those paraded include 7 dismissed soldiers arrested for armed robbery, 11 notorious traffic robbery suspects, alleged Awawa Boys ringleader who orchestrated a mild drama as he denied membership of the group.
I know be king of Awawa.
No, are you the leader of Awawa in Agege area? Yes
not.
Or no?
No.
So who are you?
So I'm Tobi Akinbayo.
Are you a member of Awawa in Nigeria?
I no be member of Awawa.
What is Awawa?
The people where is there alive, they call Awawa. No, that thing will happen. So,
but you wrote in your statement, you confessed in your statement.
Which other members are here? Can we know other members?
He's the only one that just got arrested.
This is Awawa.
Yeah, we have a confessional statement of him confessing to the fact that he is the leader, and this is not the first time he's coming to the anti-cultism unit. Right or wrong?
So why is he like